Hello, everyone, and hello, Eddie. Welcome.
Thank you so much, David. How are you doing?
I am great. So, here we are today to talk about Torre Coach, but to talk about coaching in general and why it is such a great opportunity to develop professionally and maximizing your potential, right? So, the opportunity is for everyone. I'm here in Italy, and Eddie, you are where are you?
Colombia,
You are in Colombia.
in a town called Cincelejo. What's the name of your city again?
Well, the closest real city is Bergamo, uh, and my house is in a village called Villa d'Alme.
Villa Dalme. Good.
And so we are very enthusiastic about sharing with all of the people following us what we are doing because uh, coaching, at least for me, and then Eddie, you can tell me your
Mhm.
opinion, represents a wonderful bridge between powerful algorithms that are performing ever better in surfacing opportunities for people who are looking for them on one hand, and on the other hand, the human relationships that are in the center of what really we want to do. We are animals, we are biological organisms, and we enjoy the relationships. And coaching really enhances those relationships. You, as a coach on one side, and as a professional on the other side, really establish a rapport where both of you benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there is an element that for now, at least I presume in thousands of years that might change, but that for now machines cannot do. There's so much nuance and texture in humans that a software cannot read. That I believe humans can do and would do better than a computer. So I think the question here, and at least the challenge here, when we are thinking about how do we connect powerful algorithms and all these conversations on machine learning and artificial intelligence, which we shouldn't totally get into. How do we match that with what humans can offer? I think in the intersection of that, there is a really powerful opportunity, because if you are able to use the technological tools available to really understand and map what's out there in terms of opportunities with the nuance and the texture of what humans are looking for, then you'll be able to really get to the nuts and bolts of what makes work fulfilling for everyone. And I think that's what we are working at Torre. That's what we're trying to do, and that's what's really appealing to us. It's like we found a way to do something that is fulfilling for us. David, and I don't know if that's your case, but for me, I know it's your case. It's a trick question. But in my case, I found myself working remotely, building a service and building a startup. And it's one of the most rewarding experiences that I've had in my life. And then we are here, David and I, asking ourselves, how can we make this accessible to everyone? How can we have everyone have the same level of experience and satisfaction on their day to day working?
And you're right. The value of coaching has been evident for many people for a long time. If you are a Hollywood actor, if you are a star athlete, if you are the CEO of a large company, well, you know that you want to leverage coaching because it gives you huge benefit. It not only is a question of boosting your ego or telling you, oh, keep doing it and put everything into it and then keep pushing yourself. Yes, there is that component too, but there is much more. And
Absolutely.
and you said it right. The opportunities that we have today, thanks to technology, thanks to what we are doing right now, we are using technology that 20, 30 years ago would have been close to magic. And it is something that is today available for everyone to communicate globally, to collaborate remotely, to use tools that allow all of us to be efficient and forge teams that have the ability to achieve what their members individually couldn't in a way that is
And
really exciting and exhilarating.
yeah, and it's really interesting what you're mentioning. Yesterday, I was looking at I don't know whose quote this is, but my friend was sharing it. I'm not sure it's her quote. I don't think it is. But there was something saying like new and what is the word for when you don't know how to read in English? Analphabetism, is it the same word? It shouldn't be.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
In English, you use the same. That's right. Or to be illiterate. That is also.
illiterate, that is the word. So the new illiterates of the world are humans that have so much information and tools available that they don't know how to use. So it's like similar to the people that have the words, but they cannot do. They have the letters, but they don't know how to do words with those letters. And I think a lot of that is happening right now. There are a lot of tools available to do amazing things, to build startups and to build companies, to grow professionally. And what you then start seeing is that as humans, we don't know how to use those tools, and perhaps we do need a tutor or a coach or someone that can tell us how we are using or making use of those tools. And I think this is a process that, from what we've experienced so far, I see a lot of our professionals uh, making mistakes on, which are very easy to solve. There are many things that just come from the way in which we've been doing things historically. I mean, most people, you would think, because of all these tools available, people would change the way in which they look for jobs. All this knowledge that we have around, purpose, all this knowledge that we have around like different things around how to find a job, you would imagine people would change their ways, but people have not changed their ways. And here we are creating a service, any product that can really tackle that directly.
Let's go back to that. But since we are live, I also want to take advantage and say hello to Emilio, who is joining us from Twitch, and Francesco, who is saying hi, David, on Facebook. We are actually simultaneously on LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and Twitch. But I would like the people following us to actually go to torrecoach.com/YouTube in order to be redirected to a much longer and complicated URL, and then subscribe to the Torre Coach channel on YouTube so that they can be alerted when we are live next time to talk about these topics. And they can, of course, also follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/Torre Coach, and then go to torre.co in order to sign up and create their professional genome. So we were talking about the way that people search for jobs. I think that a lot of people, obviously, as they know themselves and they know what they are capable of, and they have been accustomed to writing their curriculum that lists their past places of work and their experiences and their education in a very, very standardized format. They expect to be able to upload that document and be done with it. And as you said, without leveraging the tools that they have available, pretend that the world owes them the job that is ideal, and that it is enough to bombard the world with their CV and they will have the solution, maybe if not next day, by next week. And they become impatient and frustrated and even almost offended if that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think it has to do a lot with uh, the idea of mastery and craftsmanship. I think if you start looking at like the top performers in the world, those that have managed to perfect their craft and have something of like real value to economies, to ecosystem, what it tends to happen is that opportunities go to them. Like opportunities just go out to your doorstep. It's like, hey, you are the best therapist in the city. I need your services. Hey, you're the best soccer player that I have seen. Football players, for those of us that really watch football, and that you are the best marketeer in this educational technology sector. And then opportunities come to you. And most people I think approach their profiles as if they are already masters of their craft, as if their craftsmanship is done. And the reality is that we are in continuous progress. And David can potentially really talk about this, because someone would say, well, David, you've already accomplished so much in your entrepreneurial, investing, and innovation life. Like, you're not building your craft anymore. You're done. Like, you already built your craft. And it's like, huh, I'm pretty sure that David would say, actually, I'm constantly finding new tools. I'm constantly improving the results that of the things that I do. And unless people think about it that way, they will continue thinking that the CV is a static image, and the CV or your resume or like who you, it's not static. It can be static. If it's static, you're not growing. And I think that's what separates us significantly from what machines can do, because machines grow in, I would say, in a predictable machiney way. Humans one day would decide, I don't want to do sales anymore. Now I want to be a baseball trainer. So now I'm gonna go and do this. I'm not sure if machines will have that sort of diversity in their let's call it their genome. But my point stands. I think we need to start looking at profiles, professional profiles, as a dynamic kind of like thing that is morphing, that it's changing, and that opportunities come to us in the measure of our mastery and of our craftsmanship. And we need to just make sure that we're building that constantly.
And to build on that, if you go to torre.co/David Orban, you find my professional genome, as Torre calls it, the equivalent of a professional profile.
I have a question. Is that image when you were singing opera? Is that when you and the peak of the performance?
Actually, it was wonderful. I was at La Scala in front of, I don't know what is the ability of this beautiful opera house to 10,000 people or whatever the number of people. It was full. And I wasn't singing. I was delivering the keynote opening address of the world's largest scientific prize that was awarded to a wonderful Italian scientist who discovered what are called mirror neurons. And the mirror neurons are at the basis of our empathy, because they are triggered by us watching someone doing something and by mentally representing that thing in our minds. And just that ability is incredibly stimulating and interesting, and actually also something that we can connect with coaching, because the inspiration and the ability to imagine what you can achieve and what you are capable of is neurologically and biologically supported by this. So yes, I was at an opera house, one of the most beautiful in the world, performing in front of thousands of people. But the photo that you are seeing is not that. Is not in that case. That is at a television studio. I was being interviewed and probably I was talking about transhumanism or cybernetic entities and artificial intelligence and things like that. It's a very nice and very professionally produced series um, that invites me from time to time to talk about my interests. Anyway, that's an aside. I was about to show this a very rich and very interesting way of representing not only, yeah, your resume, big deal, whatever you did, uh, but so many other things, the skills that you would like to develop, right? How interesting is that? Regardless of people who are younger or older, whether they did a lot of things or not, why shouldn't be there so much more that they would like to do? Or the fact that you can signal other people, and the recommendation of that signaling is dependent on the weight of your own recommendations. Or this other section that I find also very interesting, that takes a little bit of time, between half an hour and an hour, depending on how fast you are, that allows people to fill in their personality traits and the kind of professional culture that they resonate with. And the reason why that is important is because then the opportunities match with that kind of culture. And the assumption is that being in a team whose culture is similar to yours will be conducive to a much more positive working experience. So these are really interesting characteristics of Torre as a platform, which is where we like to then deliver the coaching experience to our subscribers, even though we don't stop there, because the objective of Torre Coach is to find people their next job. So it is wherever we can help them, empower them, equip them to go out and find that they can be the solution that very interesting and exciting teams are looking for.
And I think that you put it in a really good way when you mention equipping the talent. I think it's it's almost like showing a tool set to professionals and saying you choose, because at the end of the day, like, we should be, and unfortunately I do understand that there are many instances where slavery still exists, and I really hope, because I'm not affecting this directly, that one day we can actually call it as an end to this. And there are professionals that are forced to do some types of work because there is nothing else available. There's nothing else they can do given their abilities, given their context, given and we have wonderful professionals from many parts of the world, the different countries in Africa, Southeast Asia, South America, and we said let's democratize this, because we believe that we can actually present those tool sets so that people can have a choice. And I think that's what's most important here, to really understand that we have a choice for long enough. For instance, in my life, I believe that I did not have, in a way, a choice, because I thought I was lucky to get to different places, not understanding my own abilities, not adding self-awareness to what I was doing. And usually what that leads to is to coping mechanisms that will be negative in the overall run of your professional career. So the more you deny yourself the opportunity to be self-aware, to understand the tools that are at your disposal, and to really be, I think, determined and to have consciousness into your actions, the more frustrated that you're going to be in whatever you're at. Like, if you feel that things just happen because, you know, something happened in the universe and you did not consciously decide these things, the more frustrations that you're going to be adding to your process. So I think presenting that tool set is very relevant. We equip people and then they are able to go and execute on their own.
There is a quote that Bob Nardelli, the former CEO of Home Depot, said, and I think very nicely applies. He says, "I absolutely believe that people, unless coached, never reach their maximum capabilities." And democratizing access to coaching then means that so many more people are becoming aware of their potential, become, as you say, self-directed, apply choices and a much more conscious analysis to what is in front of them. And yes, too many people feel that they don't have a choice, that the jobs that they are doing, even if they are not paying well, they are not giving growth opportunities, professionally speaking, they are not fulfilling, they are not creative, they are monotonous. Well, too many people believe that they don't have an alternative. And what we want is for people to realize that they do have so many other alternatives. And of course, everyone following us today and any other time that we will go live to talk about these topics, already by definition belong to those categories that do have those choices because of the tools that they have. Just by the fact that you are on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or wherever else following a live stream immediately means that you have the tools and the knowledge to transform your life for the better.
I think it's super interesting because I was very skeptical about mentorship, coaching, even like psychological therapy, because I think our ego is predisposed to listening to another being, but another existing being, whether this being is artificial or, in fact, I believe if the being we are listening to is artificial, we are much more open to listen to the suggestions of this being than if the being that we're listening to it has a biological life and consciousness. It's super interesting that we behave this way, but I think our ego is predisposed to avoid listening and avoid mentorship and avoid coaching. And it requires kind of like a conscious decision to go there. And that conscious decision immediately opens up a place of empathy. It opens up a place of skepticism around like what I believe. And I think it's a vulnerability or a space of vulnerability. I think that's one of the main reasons why I avoided any sort of mentorship and any sort of coaching. If you think about it, like just basic mentorship principles, like if someone is listening to this and says like, okay, I wanna taste a little bit of this, it's like, okay, as one of your best friends, what are some of the things that you know about me that I don't know? This is of course stolen from the principles of the window of Honari, of like things like that, the unknown to me, right? So ask someone, just ask one person, only one person, tell me something about me, positive and negative, that you think I don't know. With that, if the answer is something that you don't know, because if the answer is something that you know, you should tell that person like, I know that about myself. Come on, tell me something I don't know. What you're gonna realize is that you should be really humble about what you believe about yourself, from the positive experience and from the negative. From the positive, because there are things that we don't know about ourselves that we could use to grow professionally or personally that we're not using today. And then from the negative side of things, because we sometimes are too optimistic about how great we are. And there are things that we need to improve on. And this sort of exercises really allow for that. So that is a taste of like what mentorship and coaching can do, because it's like, there is another set of eyes, there is another brain looking into you, and when you have that, you just gain perspective. I think overall you are gaining perspective.
Uh, Francesco very much agrees with this, and I do too. It requires a little bit of humility, of humbleness, and that is very useful for everyone. But at the same time, I think if I want to be provocative, it also requires a little bit of the opposite. You must be the right level of immodest, because someone who is excessively modest at an excessive degree, will not invest in him or herself. They will be content to be at the stage where they are. They will not believe that they can improve themselves and their circumstances. So being immodest about it, being able to say, no, I want to do more, I am capable of doing more, of achieving more, is also very useful. So we are at the end of the half an hour that we said we would use, and anyone who wants to learn more about Torre Coach can go to torre.co/coach and fill out a very simple form, learning about how it works, and then start the process of learning about Torre Coach together with you and me and others who will guide the person in starting an evaluation of what they are, what they want, and what they can achieve.
Excellent, excellent. And I think that that's what they should definitely do. I hope we can um, repeat this experiment or this experience. My apologies. Next week, because I think there is a lot to be talked about the future of mentorship, the future of coaching, and beyond the hype and beyond the kind of like the superficiality of, oh, I'm paying a coach to do things with me, and I'm more into the nuts and bolts of, as a professional, what are some of the things that I can do to understand the value and impact that I'm adding to society, and that value and impact that I'm adding is aligned with my purpose. And I think that if that doesn't give satisfaction, well, we'll have to look into something else. But I think the thing that you devote the most time doing in your day should be definitely aligned with your purpose in life and what you want to achieve with your family.
Wonderful. Eddie, I'm looking forward, and thanks for the chat today.
See you later. Bye bye.